Hi everyone, my name is Holly and I'm the editor of International Airport Review, and I'm joined here by Monette Pasher. Monette is Interim President of the Canadian Airports Council. So Monette, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Holly, from beautiful sunny Nova Scotia today.
Now we're here to talk about the lengthy delays that Canadians are currently experiencing in airports, and many have taken to social media to vent their anger, posting photos and videos of long lines at customs and security. So perhaps we could just start with a simple question. What's actually been happening and why are these lengthy delays occurring?
Yeah, it's been a challenging situation the past few weeks, and as our airports have ramped up, and as of the first week of May, we got back to around 70% of passenger traffic of pre-COVID levels, and it's becoming challenging to manage that level of traffic with some of the COVID protocols that are still in place at our international border. So we're seeing that as international travel has ramped up, both in our hub airports, so in Toronto, Pearson, and then sometimes in Montreal, this has been a challenge as well. Noticing that those COVID protocols in terms of questions that are asked both in the ArriveCan app and at the machines and by customs agents, and also the need to still select passengers for random testing at our airports is really slowing down the system. So if you think back to, into COVID, when we were moving only, 30% of passengers and even up to 50% of passengers, we could manage these COVID protocols in our airports. We had a lot of space and there weren't a lot of people traveling. But now as we ramp up and, Pearson's moving 30,000 international passengers a day and Montreal 15,000. So it's a lot of people. It would normally take a customs agent about 30 seconds to process a passenger, and now it's taking 2 to 4 times that. So upwards to 2 minutes, which is, it's just too lengthy of a process to facilitate as we get back to normal travel to have these measures in place. So that's one piece that's happening. And then there's also delays at our security screening at a number of airports across the country as well. And that's at the pre-departure side.
And what steps are actually being taken to address the delays?
Yeah, so the Minister of Transport has convened a number of working groups, and our hub airports, airline partners, government agencies, and Transport Canada are working together, have been meeting a couple times a week to address some of these issues, see what they can do to streamline and move forward the hiring process. So both looking at addressing the pre-departure screening issues and also talking about what can be done at the international border to facilitate, to move people through quicker. So those are our actions are underway. I guess what we would say is that this is a pressing and urgent issue. The more passenger traffic comes back, and it's coming back quickly, we're going to see, Pearson increase by 50% in terms of the number of international arrivals this summer. So, traffic's coming back, and that's a great thing. And we need to be ready, and we need our government agencies to be ready as well. And we need to work together to make that happen. But this really does lie with them.
And the president of the Customs and Immigration Union has said that the number of frontline customs officers at Canada's 3 largest airports had actually been declining before COVID-19. And he said this was due to the increased use of self-serve processing technology. What would you say to this?
Yeah, well, really, the CBSA processing is done by the government agency. So I guess how they deem the best way to process passengers is how it's done. But I think we would support as airports moving forward in technology advancements. We've seen the machines in our airports speed up the process. It allows a customs agent to have a lot of the information filled out before the passenger reaches them. And I think as we continue moving forward, we need to further innovate at our borders. We need to move forward in terms of technology advancements and speed up the process and have people really fill out this information in advance at the ArriveCan app with a digital declaration so that the entire process could be quicker, and really the customs agents that are there could be used to focus more on the passengers that need that additional time.
And what do you think the government should be doing to address this situation and help ease the pressure on airports and passengers?
Yeah, the one thing that we would really like to see is a change at the international border. These questions that are asked need to be streamlined or removed. The testing, random testing that's happening at our airports, 4,000 people a day are being randomly selected. And that's a process that has to be manually done by our by the customs agents at the airport. So all of these extra measures, they only seem like a few seconds here and a few seconds there, but they really do add up when people have to answer multiple questions a number of times, and then there's stickers going on passports to decide who's going to be tested and who's not going to be tested. And when you're moving tens of thousands of passengers a day, those numbers add up and it creates a backlog in our airport. So we're seeing very long lines at peak times, and also people being held and metered on planes and metered as to when they can come in our facilities. This is not something that we can continue to do, especially as we ramp up for travel this summer. We need urgent change.
Exactly. And you mentioned earlier that Greater Toronto Airport Authority are expecting an increase of almost 50% in their international passengers at Pearson this summer. Everyone's looking forward to summer, aren't they? Because they're expecting a lot of pent-up travel and a huge surge for the summer months. So do you think that Canadian airports will be ready to support this demand if they carry on at this rate?
Yeah, so right now our airports, our four hub airports, are moving about just over 55,000 international passengers a day coming in through our borders at our airports. And when the summer comes, that's going to peak over 80,000. So a huge increase. We're already seeing the impacts of where we are right now when we're at about 70% of pre-COVID levels for passenger traffic. So as we peak and move forward in the summer, this is going to be a significant challenge. And really that's why we're saying now, when we're pressing the federal government and we're working together to say, let's address this now. We need to come up with ways to smooth out this process. We don't want Canadians coming home or international travelers coming to visit our beautiful country and being held on planes as their first entry into Canada. So we have some work to do. We're working on it together, but certainly pressing the federal government to help us move forward. And we believe that streamlining these COVID protocols and removing testing from our airports is really one of the answers here.
Fantastic. And I know we've spoken a lot about the larger hub airports, but what would you say about the rest of the network? Are they experiencing the same kind of problems?
Yeah, well, when we see our hub airports have long lines and bottlenecks like this, really delays and cancellations, they just have a trickle effect down through our entire network, our hub and spoke system. So when someone's coming, flying into Pearson internationally, they could be going to the East Coast of Canada, they could be going to the West Coast. So we need to make sure that our system operates efficiently. And when we're seeing, these delays of hours happen at our hub airports, that has a trickle effect into the rest of the network. And certainly that's something that we want to address before the summer. We're also seeing that, security screening and lines is a challenge, not just at Pearson or Vancouver, but in other pockets across the country. And I think, staffing up and having our security authority staff up there. But there's also some systemic issues here that have really been in place before the pandemic that we've been working with our government agencies on. And we need to move forward in Canada to a trusted traveler program. People want to travel. There's pent-up demand, and we need to be ready to process them smoothly. And it's very important to us as airports and all of our partners as well. So I think we need to move forward, create something like they have in the US, which is a pre-check, and passengers can move through more seamlessly. They're known travelers. They don't need to go through the same process. And then the other lines can be for travelers that may take a little bit longer. So I think we need to move forward in Canada with that.
Are you confident for the summer months then, and the kind of months ahead towards the end of the year?
I would say there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do in terms of hiring, and CATSA is working diligently on that. I think, it's good to remember as well as travelers, this is an industry that's been impacted for 2 years, and it's not something we've always said that you can flip on a switch and we're just back to normal again. It just does not work like that. This is a heavily regulated industry. It takes weeks to train people for secure positions and get security clearance. And so it's a timely industry in that way. And I think we have been working, or our agencies have been working on that to get people up to speed. But there's a labor shortage across the tourism industry, and it's certainly impacting aviation as well. I think there's a lot we can do as all of the partners in the travel journey, our government agencies, government, airports, airlines, baggage handler companies, all of it. We need to work together to make this process better for travelers. They don't care who is responsible for the delay. They just don't want a delay. And I can, assure people that we are working hard together to move this forward. And I think there are a few things that government can do to help us get there.
Monette, thank you so much for your time today in discussing this developing issue. And we hope to speak to you very soon again.
Thanks, Holly. Appreciate it.